It's day 29 on the AT. We are slack packing today from Stecoah Gap. We're staying at Sassafras Camp Shelter tonight and then going back to the Knock. So we're going SOBO and it's about 14 miles. We're breaking it up, doing about 7-ish and 7. And then we're going back to Bookie at Ramblin' Roots Hostel, which is amazing. I'll talk about more about the hostel and Bookie as we go on the trail today. We've done our first big climb up out of the gap, and we've got many to go. We also have Stecoah Bald. I may be just messing up these names, but doing the best that we can. So, back on trail. It is cloudy.
Already hot.
And so humid, and Eldon has his sweatband on because he is sweating, and I have my hair pulled back because I am sweating. And I'm trying new kicks today, being Bookie had compression socks. Again, talk about that in a minute. But my feet are sweating in these socks, so I don't like that. But it's very humid because the rain is coming in tomorrow night. But I'll show you what the trail looks like today as we travel down it. It's so hard for the video to really depict the elevation gain in just this short little stretch on the side of this mountain, but it's just straight up. I know it looks kind of flat, but it's not flat at all. So, day 29 for us. Day 29. We're getting, a little stronger. Just as much soreness. But, so Bookie, Reptile was telling her about my calf pain and how most of the time, we're like switchbacking up. I think we're switchbacking up. Anyway, when we go up, especially first mile of the day, my calves like to seize up, my Achilles. It's like major burning. Yep. Switch back up. Boy, I wish this thing had elevation profile on it so that you could see just how steep this is. But, anyhow, Bookie's like, I have compression socks that go up your calves. Would you like to try one? Take a look at them. So she dug out 2 different kinds for me. Of course, I had to pick the pretty pink ones. And I have those on today. And has it helped some? Yes. Has it alleviated the calf pain? No. I try to stretch a lot when we're off trail. But yesterday, we didn't get into the hostel until after 5. And then all the chores that you have to do and try to get to bed around 9. I did not get to stretch the way that I wanted to. Oh, we're going around a circle, the top of this maze. Okay. So my calves are hurting pretty good today. But I do think the compression socks are helping some. Don't mind my heavy breathing. Again, you cannot see that we're literally spiraling around the top of this peak. But, okay. But I also got some Dirty Girl gaiters from the NOC. I wasn't able to get those on my shoes because I just ran out of time with all the chores that we had to do for today's hike. But I will get those on, and we will see how the calf compression socks help and how the Dirty Girl gaiters help with the debris on my shoe. that is our outlook. And here's Heldon's outlook.
Down.
Down. The outlook is always down because you have to watch your feet for all of the roots and the rocks, the roly-polies, the rooty-tooties, the stobs, the dog poop. It's always something. Always something. We are looking forward to running into Mousetrap today. We were told that she was still on this section, and hopefully we get to run into her in the next hour. We've met, there's a few people, but we've met some people that we stayed with at the shelters, and it's always fun. And there's another one. That's Crayola. You are on camera.
Say hi, Crayola, to YouTube.
Are y'all going the wrong way?
We are going the wrong way, yes. Mousetrap!
Y'all slack packing or something?
Yes.
Yep.
We are.
Oh, you're slack packing. He doesn't look like he is.
Well, we're staying at Sassafras Gap Shelter for one night, then Slackpacking back to Knock.
Okay.
I'm so happy
So.
to see you guys.
You're on YouTube, say hi.
Hi.
Hi, Mousetrap. Hi, Crayola.
Hi, guys.
All right, I'm gonna turn this off so we can talk. All right, we talked with the Mousetrap for about 20 minutes, enough for our muscles to go stiff again. And so it made it a very hard climb up here to Cheoah Bald. We're at 5,033 feet. And this is the view. And there's my hubby who made it up here too. And
Don't ask me how.
yeah, there was a time where the trail got about 8 inches wide, and
It's in vertical.
it was pretty steep, but beautiful views. All right, day 29. We are at camp. We got the 6.8 miles to Sassafras Gap Shelter. We SOBO'd, so we walked southbound, half slack packing. The reason it's called a half slack pack, in my understanding, is that we are staying one night on trail. So we have basically 1 day's worth of food, our sleep systems, our tent, warm layers, a headlamp, and that was basically it. All extra clothes, extra food, all of that stuff stayed at the hostel. So we're going back to Bookie tomorrow, and we're going to go from Sassafras back to the Knock. And so we got to the Knock on Sunday. This is Monday. We went north to Stecoah Gap and then walk back south. And so we have today at Sassafras. Tomorrow we have 7 miles back to the Knock. It is mostly downhill. We have like 700 feet of uphill ascent and 3,500 feet of downhill descent. So this is kind of the halfway mark, or the stopping point of people who walk out of the Knock. And I've seen dozens and dozens of videos from through hikers, from section hikers, just videos on social media and YouTube, and everyone says, oh, the Knock, you know, it's so hard, it's like straight up. And someone said, oh yeah, you go like a mile and it's like straight up. No, that is not really accurate. You go 3,500 feet elevation gain in 7 miles. So 7 miles, you're going basically 3/4 of a mile up. And it is a continuous upgrade. There's a few ups and downs in that, but for the most part, you're just going straight up. We've passed 4 or 5 people that have walked up from the Knock today, and some of them were still in really good spirits, and other ones were like, that sucked. They were like, you did a great job going SOBO instead of going northbound. So we have that. But we're still out here doing the miles. We are definitely reevaluating our time frame, our bank account, the things that we have going on at home, to kind of see, because we are still doing pretty slow mileage. And looking at the time frame that we have to be on trail, the goal was to be back home at a certain point. And if we continue even if we up our mileage by like 2 or 3 miles a day, we're going to be way beyond that goal. So we're still looking at some different options, and when we make a decision, I'll let you guys know. But I'm going to get out of the tent. I came in to put my puffy on because it's getting a little windy. I think my nose is red. I can't tell if that's... I'm trying to look into the camera here, but I can't tell if my nose is really red or if it's just the sunburnt that I got yesterday. I did not wear a hat yesterday on trail for about 5.5 hours. And so my nose got a little red. But washed my face at the hostel and I was like, why is my face burning? It wasn't the soap. It was that I had gotten too much sun. But we got our tent set up. I don't know if I ever showed you the tent. Let me flip this around and I'll show you the tent. Okay. It's really hard to film in here with me actually like trying to sit on the side of the tent. But Eldon's sleep system, he has a accordion. If I can actually find the accordion under here. Alright, so we have an accordion sleeping pad. This helps protect from the rocks and roots underneath. We have an inflatable sleeping pad. His is insulated at about a 4 R value. Mine is only like, I don't know if it's a 2. I think it's a 2 R value. But we have these waterproof bivvies. I know this is kind of hard to see. This is like an emergency bivvy. You can see like the kind of like the mylar. It's actually made out of polyester, but it's a waterproof sack that we can put our down sleeping bags in. This was to add extra warmth. It is also actually supposed to be able to keep you alive to like negative 15 degrees. But it gives you like extra warmth. It's just not that warm. And then we have a polyester sheet, which is, they're not called sheets, they're called sleeping bag liners. We call them sheets because this is my sheet. And then we have his mummy sleeping bag. This is the one that the zipper broke on. We're still waiting for the new one to come in. Thank you, Sea to Summit, for shipping us a replacement since we're here on trail. But these are the kind of the layers that we have here in the tent. Of course, we always have our beanies or our sock hats, whatever area of the country you're from. And then we have a pillow. And then we like to put our packs at the top of our head. And that way we can put the pillow on it. And it kind of gives it a little bit of a higher volume. That way, sometimes, because the way you're laying, you feel like you are downhill. So that is Reptile's sleeping system. I have pretty much the exact same thing, except I just set mine up a little differently. Let me get my fanny pack out of the way. So my accordion, you can see that in the corner, that's underneath. Then I have my inflatable sleeping pad. My inflatable sleeping pad has my bivvy wrapped around it. And then I have my sheet or my sleeping bag liner. And then I have a quilt. So this has a footbox at the end. I'm sorry. This may be really hard to see. But it has a footbox at the end. My feet slide into it. From that point, it's enclosed. And then the rest of it is open. This is from Alps Mountaineering. It was rather cheap. I don't know, I think it was maybe like $80, which is pretty cheap for a sleeping quilt that's down. It's a 35-degree quilt. The only thing that I don't like about it is that this baffle here is not that big. I don't know what that is, maybe like 4 inches. But sometimes it gets a little drafty around the neck. But that is why we have our beanies and our gaiters. But that is our sleep system for that. We are reevaluating the sleep system for the Smokies because we're not entirely sure that we can handle below 35-degree temperatures. We have handled them, just not very well. But this is our Big Agnes 3-person tent. Because we have 25-inch wide sleeping bags or sleeping pads, and the tent is 60 inches wide, I believe. Yeah, I don't know how this is a 3-person tent. Apparently every person's length supposed to be 20 inches wide. But, so this is the space that we have between us. Just very little. How is a third person supposed to sit there? I do not know. Eldon says it must be like a 3-year-old child. But Big Agnes tent, this is the same tent that my mom and I took out on the AT in Maryland last year. Super light, but it does really well. So I'm going to flip this back around. All right, we're going to close out day 29 on the AT. We are at Sassafras Gap Shelter again, spending the night, going back to the knock. Sorry, we have 7 miles in the morning to go. Most of it is relatively downhill. The blessing of today was the option to slack pack because Eldon, Reptile over there, he carried our sleep system and tent and all that stuff. I got to slack pack and carried about 5 pounds. So that was my blessing of the day. The challenge of the day was probably the elevation. I mean, we had quite a few, I would say like maybe 3 good climbs. And some of them were just relatively steep. Maybe not long for like, a quarter mile, but they were just steep for a very short burst. But it is still kind of early, but we've been at camp since before 3 o'clock. And I did not sleep much last night, so I think I'm going to head to bed early. Anything you want to say?
No.
No, it's nap time, I guess. All right, good night, everyone.